With the right nutrition is our very own nutritionist, Lily Soutter. Welcome to the show, Lily.
Hi.
So obviously there's a lot that can be done regarding nutrition because, as we've heard from you and our other experts that come on the program, what we eat does affect our mood and how we feel about ourselves. But is there anything in particular for young people that you think would be good for them to have maybe on a daily or weekly basis?
Yeah, so good nutrition for teenagers is absolutely critical. This is purely because they're going through a time where they're rapidly growing and developing. So they actually require a higher intake of all nutrients, basically. Yeah. There are sort of two ones which we probably should be focusing on because there is a sort of propensity to become deficient in them. Okay. The first one is calcium. It's really important because obviously teenagers, they are having sort of a rapid growth in bone mass, and calcium can support bone health, really. So between the ages of 11 and 18, their daily reference intakes of calcium actually increase for both males and females. So making sure that teenagers are consuming sort of dairy products daily, whether that's milk, cheese or yogurt, great sources of calcium. If they don't consume sort of dairy products, just making sure that their alternative milks like almond milk is fortified with calcium. You can find some calcium from sort of dark green leafy vegetables like kale and rocket, but just not to great extents as you would find in dairy. And then another mineral which is actually it's quite a common deficiency in the UK, but it's iron, which we really need to focus on. So iron is really important for energy, but it's also important for sort of growth and development. And both male and female sort of teenagers both need an increase in iron intake, but especially girls, just because they're starting menstruations, they need to make sure that they're replacing their iron stores. So
very important.
Iron is found in meat, like you find heme iron in meat, which is highly absorbable. Sort of plant-based sources of iron are non-heme iron, so they're less absorbable. So if the teenager's not really consuming a protein, well, not protein rich and adequate protein diet, and they're focusing on very sort of refined carbs and sort of more unhealthy foods, they may not be getting adequate iron within their diet. So you do find iron in meat, as I was saying, but at the same time, if sort of the teenager's vegetarian, they could go for sort of more plant-based sources of iron, which would be whole grains, nuts, beans, pulses, and all sort of dark green leafy vegetables like spinach as a source of iron. And then another good trick, just to make sure that they are absorbing all their iron from food as much as possible, is combining vitamin C with each meal. Massively help the absorption of iron from the food. So whether that's getting the vitamin C from vegetables like broccoli and bell peppers, they're very rich sources of vitamin C, is really, really good having that combination with the iron-rich foods. If not, and they're really struggling, they could have a vitamin C supplement with each meal of a low dose. And again, if not, some doctors recommend having a glass of orange juice. However, I'm not a big advocate just because it's quite sugary. But it's just another aspect to think about. So
brilliant. So we have some lovely ingredients here. What are you going to be making for us today, Lily?
So today I'm going to be making a very easy sort of avocado and mango smoothie with a bit of sort of iron-rich spinach in there and some lime as well.
Lovely. So let's take it away.
So first of all, it's the mango, which I'm going to put in. So this mango is a rich source of vitamin A, which is very good for immunity. So it's half a mango. Then we've got the 2 handfuls of spinach, and as I was saying, this is a source of iron. So it's basically getting the greens in.
I'm interested how this is going to taste because I have had avocado smoothies and mango smoothies, but I've never had two together.
Oh really? No, they blend really well together. The avocado gives it a very sort of creamy texture. I don't know why, they just taste really good together. So then it's half an avocado that you put in there. So this is sort of for the healthy fats, and it can help to balance blood sugar. So teenagers actually don't get enough healthy fats within their diet. They did a sort of survey looking at the dietary intakes of teenagers, and it's too high at the moment in added sugars, you know, fruit juices, any sort of free sugars in the terms of like honey syrups, refined sugar. It's too low in fibre and too high in saturated fat. So we've got to think of like easy meals like these to put together. Next thing is half a lime. It just gives it a nice sort of kick.
That's to make it taste like opal fruits or Starburst, as they call it nowadays.
Yeah.
It does actually.
Yeah,
It gives it that kind of flavour, that naughty, but good for you.
Yeah. And then almond milk. This almond milk is actually fortified with calcium. So it's just showing that alternatives milk can have some calcium in them. And then it's usually around 300 mils. And then, we blend it. You can put some ice in to make it cool, or you could just blend it as it is.
Blend away?
Yes.
Okay. My good friend, the NutriBullet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. Sorry for the noise, guys. Are you ready? So what time of day would you suggest to have it?
Any time, I mean, I have it for breakfast or just almost as a snack sometimes as well. It's really good. So if you want it a little bit less thick, you can add more almond milk, but literally you can make it into a smoothie bowl. There's loads on Instagram.
Okay, so you can either have it as a drink or just
as a
have it as
smoothie bowl. Yeah, and if you want it more thicker, you know, less almond milk and it's easier to spoon. But yeah, you just put it in a smoothie bowl. Then you can decorate it with some fruit, sort of like kiwi fruits.
Okay.
So just put the kiwi fruit on. A little bit of coconut, desiccated coconut.
I thought it was cheese.
I really know. It's coconut.
Oh, well, that's quite an interesting thing to put in on a smoothie.
Yeah.
I thought it was parmesan.
A very strange combination. So,
well, you know, we have had some strange combinations that have worked really well.
Yes. No, I haven't got cheese. And then the last one, pomegranate seeds. So you can literally just put those on. And they're, you know, very versatile, these smoothie bowls, because you can literally add any fruits that you want. So, yeah.
It looks lovely. Okay, well, I'll try that in a bit. But first of all, Lily, before you go, it looks and it smells amazing. We have a few viewer questions as always. And by the way, everybody, if you have a question that you would like to ask one of our nutritionists, all you need to do is email us on nutrition@chrissybshow.tv. So let's see how many we can get through, Lily. So the first person's asking, I've heard bananas can be unhealthy if you eat them every day. Is this true?
No, not at all. However, I get asked about that all the time, and everyone sort of thinks that bananas are fattening as well. I think it's a big issue, just because it's a slightly higher sugar fruit. Sort of tropical fruits like mangoes, bananas, pineapples do contain more sugar. However, it's a spectrum. So the riper the banana, obviously the more sugary it will be. The less ripe, the less sugary it is. Bananas come with a whole range of health benefits. They're full of vitamins and minerals, and actually, because of the fibre in the banana, the sugar gets released into the bloodstream more slowly than if you had sort of the same sugar from a chocolate bar or something. So it gives a slow release of sugar. If you're worried about the sugar content, go for a slightly greener banana. And the benefit with a slightly greener banana is they're actually a really good source of prebiotics, and the prebiotics feed our good gut bacteria to make it sort of flourish and grow.
Brilliant. Okay, next question. How much better for you are brown carbs than white carbs?
So brown carbohydrates, another word for them would be sort of whole grains. And basically what that means is the cereal grain has got its fibre has been left intact. So it's outer shell of that cereal grain. And that fibre layer contains all the vitamins and minerals that you need. So it's basically got all the health properties of that sort of cereal grain or carbohydrate. White carbohydrates have that milled off, so it's been taken off. So the difference there is the whole grains, the brown carbohydrates, the sugar from those carbohydrates enter the bloodstream at a slower rate than, say, the white carbohydrates. So it gives you a steadier release of energy, and you're less likely to get that sort of blood sugar slump. However, in the UK, they do fortify all white flour with vitamins and minerals, so they do contain relatively the same amount of vitamins and minerals, but the benefit of the brown carbohydrates is that they've got that fibre in it. Most people don't get enough fibre. We're meant to get 30 grams a day, and people are just not getting that amount. So I personally would opt for the whole grains if you can. White refined carbohydrates would be obviously the second choice.
Brilliant. And one last question for today, Lily. This person says, I'm preparing for a marathon. What would be your top nutrition tips for me?
I think the main thing just to remember is sort of maybe recovery. So most people sort of don't eat properly post-exercise, and it's the most important time to have an important meal, just because, you know, the quicker we recover, the more quickly then we can train again, and that's what it's all about. You're trying to train to become fitter. So post-exercise, we need to make sure that we're getting carbohydrates within our diet. So carbohydrates all break down to sugar, and they replenish our muscle energy stores and our liver stores as well. So our muscle energy stores basically contain sugar, and they provide energy for the next time we run. There's like a half an hour window as to when our bodies can do this optimally. So we are most efficient at replenishing our muscle energy stores within half an hour post-exercise. So if we consume those carbs 30 minutes post-exercise, it will break down into sugar quickly, replenish our muscle energy stores. And then protein is another thing. So we need protein post-exercise to help repair our muscle tissues, and the carbohydrates facilitates the protein absorption of protein for muscle tissue repair. So they work synergistically. So protein and carbohydrates, so it could be some pasta with a bit of chicken, and you've got both elements there to replenish the energy stores and repair muscle tissue.
Brilliant. Lily, thank you so much.
Great.
We'll see you again very soon. Thank you. All right, guys, so after the break, we'll be hearing from our Good Cause of the Week Share community, and I'll be giving you some top tips from young people to help you get over mental illness. But first, hospital admissions of young people self-harming have increased by how much since 2002? Is it A, 48%, B, 68%, or C, 88%? Tune in after the break to find out.